Now, before the season started, I was a lot higher on the Magic compared to a lot of people, and I expected them to make the play-in tournament. And right now, they are 8th in the Eastern Conference with a 22-20 record, and so far, I've been right about this team. So, yeah, in today's video, I wanted to come on here and talk about the Orlando Magic and break down how they've been able to exceed a lot of people's expectations, and yeah. But yeah, before we do get this video started, please go ahead and hit that like button if you guys end up enjoying the video, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like this. Plus, I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers as well, and when I do reach my goal, I will do a Q&A. But yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get this video started. Now, to start the video off, we should talk about the Magic's best player, and that is obviously Paolo Banchero. Paolo was, of course, the #1 pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and he had a phenomenal rookie season, and he ended up taking home Rookie of the Year, which he absolutely deserved. But this year, he's been even better, and he's been playing like a legit all-star. I mean, he's taken a leap, and his numbers across the board have improved. He's currently averaging 23, 5, and 7 on 45, 36, and 70 splits as I record this video, and you know, again, he's been really good, and I really like to see the fact that he's become a much more complete player and that his efficiency has improved, because those are two things that I really wanted to see from him in 2024, and he's done exactly that. So yeah, Paolo Banchero, he has a really bright future ahead of him, obviously. I do think he is a guy who, in the future, could be someone that is capable of leading a team to a championship while being the #1 scoring option and the best player. So yeah, not much else to really say about him besides the fact that, you know, he's obviously an amazing player, and I do think he could be an all-star this year. We'll have to see about that, obviously, but you know, he definitely has made a good case for being an all-star this year, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will be an all-star in the next few years. So yeah, all I gotta say about him. But then you got his co-star, and I guess the Magic's second best player, and that is obviously Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner, he's had a pretty good third season, averaging 21, 4, and 6, while shooting 47% from the field, and being a pretty good defender as well. However, the main criticism, I will say, he really has not been that good from 3, which is not something you like to see, obviously. But with all that being said, Franz Wagner is still a very good player, and you know, he's still a guy who I think could be an all-star one day, and I think he could be a pretty good second option next to Paolo Banchero. But yeah, that really is, you know, kind of all I have to say about Franz Wagner. Again, he's just been really good. I just want to see that three-point shot improve, and you know, he's been better from 3 in his previous season. So yeah. But outside of those two guys, you got Jalen Suggs, and Jalen Suggs, heading into the year, I was concerned because in his first 2 seasons, he was absolutely not good, and you know, it made me concerned because we have seen players, I guess, you know, with his archetype, you know, players who are point guards who are really good passers and finishers, but they can't space the floor well, and they're good defenders. We've seen prospects like, prospects like that, like Frank Ntilikina, God, who else comes to mind? Like Elfrid Payton, Killian Hayes, and they just haven't really panned out in the NBA, and I was afraid that Jalen Suggs was going to go down that path. But this year, in a make-or-break season, he showed up, and, you know, he's broken out this year. He's still been really good as a defender, but his offense, it's improved. He's no longer a liability on that side of the ball. He's not a fantastic scorer by any means, but he is, you know, decent as a scorer, and he's been a lot more efficient, which is something you really love to see. So yeah, Jalen Suggs, I'm glad to see that he's really turned it around, and he's been really good this year. And yeah, he is a guy who I do think could be a legit part of the Magic's future. So yeah, great stuff from Jalen Suggs. Besides him, you also do have Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony, I'd say he's a pretty good player to have off the bench. I wouldn't. He's a really good scorer. I think I mean, on a championship level team, I definitely could see him being a pretty good sixth man as someone who comes off the bench and just gives you a scoring punch. So yeah, yeah, that's really all I have to say for Cole Anthony. And I'm also, by the way, North Carolina is also my college basketball team, so I'm happy to see him succeeding, obviously. Then you got Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz. These are two guys who, heading into the year, I thought would have very big seasons for them. Now, I gotta say, they've missed a lot of games with injuries this year, but I do think when they are on the court that both of these guys are pretty solid players. So, yeah. Then you got Anthony Black. Along with that, you do have Anthony Black, their rookie, who they drafted, I want to say 4th or 5th overall in this past year's NBA draft. He was, I thought he was pretty decent coming out of Arkansas. I do believe I did. Then you got their rookie, Anthony Black, who they selected with the 4th or 5th overall pick in this past year's NBA draft. I thought he was pretty decent coming out of Arkansas. He's been pretty good as a defender, and offensively, he's still growing, but I do believe in him as a player, and he hasn't really been that bad for the Magic. I was concerned about his three-point shot, but to be honest, it really hasn't been as bad as I thought, so that is pretty good to see. But yeah, Anthony Black, again, he's had like an okay rookie year, but I do think that he eventually, over time, will get better, and he will, he definitely could grow into a pretty good player for Orlando. And then to, I guess, wrap up the players, you got Mo Wagner and Goga Bitadze. Of course, Mo Wagner is Franz Wagner's brother. But yeah, both of these guys, I think they've actually been quite solid this year, especially with Wendell Carter missing so many games, which is something you really like to see. You got Joe Ingles, who, I mean, he's not anything amazing, but he can space the floor, which is something a lot of players on this team unfortunately cannot do, but he is one of the few guys who can space the floor at a decent rate. Jonathan Isaac, he's finally played this year after what felt like an eternity, because he obviously missed 2 straight seasons with recovering from that torn ACL, and he only played 11 games last year. So offensively, really nothing special, but he is a pretty good defender. I think that I don't know if he will return to what he was before. I mean, before he was pretty good. Who knows how good he's going to be after coming off that very bad ACL injury. But who knows? Maybe there is a world where... And then you got Jonathan Isaac as Jonathan Isaac has finally played this year after what felt like an eternity, because he obviously missed those 2 seasons with that recovering from that torn ACL. And then he only played 11 games last year. Offensively, he's really not that special, but defensively, I would say he is pretty good. But I guess one more guy, the last guy I do want to talk about before I get to their coaching, Jett Howard. He was someone that the Magic drafted in the late lottery this past year's NBA draft. Really hasn't done much in his rookie year, but I thought I should mention him, and I do think Jett Howard, while he hasn't really played a lot this year, I mean, he definitely, like Anthony Black, he is someone who, over time, could eventually become a pretty key contributor for this team. But yeah, now that I've gone over the players, I do want to talk about the coaching real quick. Jamahl Mosley has been a really good head coach for this team. I mean, right now, they are 3rd in defensive net rating and 6th in opponent points per game, and they've been one of the best defensive teams in the entire NBA. And I mean, a big reason why is because of Jamahl Mosley. I mean, yeah, they do have good defenders on their team, but Jamahl Mosley has gotten them to buy in on that side of the ball, and it's led to some very good results. Again, being one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And also, making that leap from being like from being a pretty bad team, to be honest, to being, a play-in level team. So yeah, Jamahl Mosley, again, he's been very good this year as a head coach, and I really do need to applaud him for that. But I guess as like a criticism of this team, I will say I mentioned it before, I believe, they cannot shoot the ball to save their life. I mean, right now they're one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. That was a big issue last year. I thought that it would improve this year, and I was hoping it would improve, but it hasn't really improved all that much, unfortunately. But hopefully that can improve over the course of the year. And I do think if they do want to continue to get better as a team and eventually become contenders, they will need to improve their ability to shoot the ball. But, I mean, this team is young, and they do have time to figure things out and eventually become a contender. So, yeah, man, that's what I have to say for that. But yeah, the Orlando Magic, they've been really good this year, and they really have exceeded expectations compared to what most people thought they would be this year, and I'm happy to see it. While I am a Nuggets fan, I do like, I guess Orlando is like a team that, I kind of do like a little bit, and I guess a team I like a little bit outside of the Nuggets. And I do think that they will make the play-in tournament this year. I know at one point in the season they were like a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, like in December and whatnot. They definitely had some injuries which led to a bit of a drop in the standings, and it's okay if they don't finish the year as like a top 3 to 5 seed. That's honestly fine. This team, they're young, and the Eastern Conference does have some pretty good teams, so I think they'll end the year as like the 8th seed, which honestly is not too bad, and I do think there is a high chance they make the playoffs, and if someone were to ask me right now if I think they make the playoffs, I think they do make it as the 8th seed. Now, if they make any noise will they make any noise in the playoffs? Probably not, just simply for the fact that I think they'll run into Milwaukee or Boston, and I mean, those two teams are two of the best teams in the entire NBA, and the Magic are still a young team. They still, I mean, offensively, as I said before, not the greatest, and the Celtics and Bucks, I mean, I just think they're much better than the Magic, but I mean, it's okay if they're a first round exit. I mean, if they make the play-in tournament, that's already a pretty good year. And if they were to make the playoffs this year, that would automatically make this year a successful one, if you ask me. So, yeah, man, the Magic, I'm glad to see that I'm right about them, and this team has a really bright future. But yeah, without further ado, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and without further ado, I'm out, you guys.